Matthew Reardon. Mr. Reardon, I'm going to give you a warning one time only. The next time you call up here, the next time you give anybody in my staff a hard time, I'm going to have you arrested for contempt of court. You're not to come up here. When you call up here, you're not here at the legal rate.
Your Honor, how did I do that?
Be quiet, sir. I hear you want to discuss something with me. Let's hear it. What do you want to discuss?
I was simply trying to inquire on the outcome of my ex. She falsely accused me of rape. You've created a monster,
Your Honor. Take him on back. Take him on back to the back.
Mayor Phillips, Mr. Dye. As a prior resident of Olive Branch, and the love for Olive Branch that my small family did share, it pains me to be typing this letter to you. Yesterday, on the 19th, I dealt with the most abominable, putrid of dealings and treatment by your municipal judge, Leslie Shoemate. That in itself is an upgrade for the complete lawlessness, lack of moral turpitude and integrity, and sharp, hard turn away from the Constitution and expectations of a functioning society. This type of reprehensible behavior by any government employee should never be tolerated. Yet it's become a common reality that I've witnessed more and more over the past several years, and especially when I decided to embark on my inner calling to document and produce in the live, ongoing documentary series, Riding with the Outlaw. I am a Marine Corps veteran. I swore an oath to my country to uphold and defend its Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And the clear, cutthroat attack by this lawless municipal court judge in Olive Branch today pretty much undercut everything that I've seen and documented. It was an extreme abuse and fissuring of the judicial gavel, a permanent staining of the robe in which he wears, most certainly a tipping of the judicial scales, and a sharp declaration of war on our blended constitutional republic / democracy. The founding fathers of America, who declared our independence, are rolling over and over in their graves. The same ones whom outlined and emboldened our basic human rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and composed our Constitution, which has been the foundation that has set and molded America as the last truly free nation in the world, governed by laws meant to extend to all individuals and especially to protect all, especially naturalized citizens. In my time of dedicating myself to my country, and in my 33 years, I know of one Constitution, one set of laws, not two. This judge is not above the law. He's not above the Constitution. And the treacherous mistake that he just made yesterday is definitely going to cost Olive Branch. Judge Shoemate is a danger and a liability to the city of Olive Branch. He is a tarnish on the good name. I trust to it that Mr. Mayor and Mr. Dye will see to it that Judge Shoemate is relieved of his duties as municipal court judge of Olive Branch by the end of the day tomorrow. Watch this video. See the proof. See that I did nothing to deserve the consequences that I reaped yesterday. All I've asked since the beginning were for equal protection of the laws, for the laws to be applied evenly. And I don't think I'm asking too much. My name is Matt Reardon, and I am the Oxford Outlaw.
In the United States District Court for the Northern District of Mississippi, Matthew Oliver Reardon, the plaintiff, versus Olive Branch, Mississippi Municipal Court and the State of Mississippi, in cause number 320-CB-00327-DMB-JMV. This is a proposed amendment to complaint. The background and plaintiff and basis of complaint is as follows. Your currently pro se plaintiff is Matthew Oliver Reardon. Reardon is currently 33 years old, as a United States Marine Corps veteran who enlisted in December of 2007, discharged in May of 2011 under a general discharge for alcohol rehabilitation failure. The plaintiff witnessed a gruesome suicide in Marine combat training, which led him to self-medicating through drinking alcohol. Reardon is married. He and his wife Madeline parent and raise 3 minor children full-time, and plaintiff's minor child from another relationship every other weekend. In a perfect world, Reardon is currently unemployed and financially fatigued from having to fight 7 different court battles pro se concurrently, without the assistance of an attorney, nor the financial means to hire one, as he has had to file everything in order to prevent being time-barred, to appeal everything and effectively restore his life and what all had been taken from him on what he alleges was a false arrest and false imprisonment, stemming from a knowingly false charge that was conspired upon and acted upon by individuals in the government, law enforcement agencies, quite possibly courts. Plaintiff has only sought the equal protections under the laws of the state and congruent with the United States Constitution. After all, plaintiff made a lifelong sworn oath to uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, to bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and to obey all orders of the President of the United States. That oath never expires. On December 11, 2020, plaintiff Matthew Oliver Reardon filed a civil claim with this honorable court seeking preliminary injunction relief for protection against Olive Branch Municipal Court, along with protection from other state agencies, municipalities, and courts due to valid serious concerns that the plaintiff is being targeted due to him bringing forth indisputable evidence of Lafayette County government employees, including duly appointed law enforcement officers acting under color of law. This also involved elected and or appointed officials tying back to the current mayor of Oxford, Robin Tannehill, and private individuals that conspired to frame the plaintiff for a crime that would have been an impossibility for plaintiff to have committed, in a combined effort to disarm, silence, and get rid of a plaintiff, then further attempt to shield their own liability by way of utilizing the help of others. All of this, the plaintiff claims, utilized the help of more and more in order to fix or cover their tracks and spread further and further into the web branches of government. Mainly the state of Mississippi, but even federal. More recently, the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Public Information/FOIA officer admitted via email that the Bureau could not locate a 302 report, which was requested by the plaintiff approximately 6 months prior, in regards to a sit-down meeting he had at the local field branch office in Oxford, Mississippi, the day before he was arrested in the conspired upon intentional attack to effectively conspire to remove the civil rights of the plaintiff, which was then executed through and through. Plaintiff sought out protections from the Federal Bureau of Investigations on May 25th, 2017, after speaking with Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Mississippi on or around May 24th, 2017, in regards to plaintiff receiving information to a death threat that had been made on him, along with Ray and Robin Tannehill taking out an injunction against the plaintiff, effectively barring him from speaking at City Hall on June 6, 2017, which just so happened to be the day of the mayoral election in Oxford, Mississippi. This was the turning point for which Lafayette County effectively panned large scale from the constitutional attack agreed at the plaintiff on May 1st, 2017, when Deputy Timmy Pruitt arrested the plaintiff for disorderly conduct due to him simply standing on public property, holding the state flag of Mississippi on the Oxford Courthouse Square, not having a permit to protest. This interaction was reported on by numerous news stations and publications, along with the video interaction going viral on social media. Plaintiff had a meeting with two FBI agents in Oxford on May 25, 2017 at the local field branch office in Oxford, where he discussed this with the two agents, discussed and showed proof of the death threat made against him, and discussed what plaintiff felt assured was a highly immoral and possibly quite likely even criminal move by the mayor-elect of Oxford, Mississippi to suppress the plaintiff from speaking and addressing key grievances prior to an election, and was already listed on the public agenda, was already listed on the city board minutes, which was published in the local Voice news circulation. Plaintiff will always maintain the same stance of this being something that should come as a fundamental right to all citizens in America, 100% backed and protected by the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, specifically to petition the government for a redress of grievances. However, after the extreme amount of civil liability continued to climb more and more through the highly contentious arrest made by Lafayette County Sheriff's Department May 1st, 2017, which in turn created liability for the county itself as well as the state of Mississippi, plaintiff alleges it was then that a conspired upon plot began amongst a group of co-conspirators that would each uniquely benefit through a successful and well-executed attack on the plaintiff and fully depriving him of his rights through the combined help of others. Plaintiff has maintained the same stance that his minor child had originally been yanked away from him based on a false petition by plaintiff's ex-girlfriend and mother of his minor child, which sought emergency injunction from the plaintiff and listed plaintiff's then 2-year-old daughter on the instantly granted order of protection, which plaintiff asserts stemmed from hearsay from plaintiff's ex, which was never substantiated by any true evidence that would support the petition and further yield grounds to grant an order of protection, ceasing all communication between a father and his minor child. This also began May 1st, 2017, and coincidentally within the same hour as plaintiff was arrested for the disorderly conduct charge. On May 26, 2017, plaintiff was arrested yet again, ambush style, by 4 sheriff's deputies upon pulling onto the courthouse square in Oxford, Mississippi while he was pulling into a parking spot to go to a local bar in the square called the Round Table. Plaintiff had occasional communication with an individual by the name of Jimmy House, who allegedly resided in the Lafayette Springs area of Lafayette County. House claimed to be a supporter of Reardon and his cause. Plaintiff was going to be meeting House at the Round Table for a beer, and this was going to be the first time that they would meet in person. Instead of finding House, however, plaintiff was met by Deputy Scott Mills, Major Alan Wilburn, Deputy Jared Bundren, and one other John Doe acting under color of law and making an arrest. Plaintiff never was told what he was being charged with. Meanwhile, his freedoms and liberties were jolted to an immediate halt, and it was then that the plaintiff's Fourth Amendment rights under the United States Constitution were immediately destroyed, and due process rights of the plaintiff was immediately disregarded as irrelevant to Lafayette County officials and employees acting under their official capacity, as the conspiracy began to grow and mutate. Plaintiff would find out later that the attorney, Mona Pittman, of his ex-girlfriend Phyllis Crowder, had filed a contempt motion yet again on the same day as plaintiff was arrested that month, and within the same hour, once again, plaintiff had also discovered that Miss Pittman had worked on the lower level of none other than Ray Tannehill, who just so happened to be Crowder's child custody attorney, who had multiple clashes with the plaintiff in court, and all evidence would lead the plaintiff to believing that conflict most certainly still existed. Plaintiff asserts clear motive to Mr. Tannehill's wife, Robin, slated for election as Oxford, Mississippi's mayor on June 6, 2017. Coincidentally, with plaintiff already slotted to speak and address City Hall over grievances, plaintiff received communication of a death threat made to him, and on May 20th, 2017, Reardon purchased a Delton AR-15 rifle for a negotiated price of $550 from an individual named Larry Watkins, whom resided in Picayune, Mississippi, which Reardon met outside of Picayune to make the purchase. The following day, Reardon purchased a bulletproof vest. In the event the death threat was made to him was in fact true. The 22nd, Tannehill filed for emergency injunction, which was immediately granted by Judge Glenn Alderson. Despite listing multiple examples of constitutionally protected activity that the suppression of such would cause irreparable harm, as it was constitutionally protected activity. Judge Alderson was more recently retired. On the 23rd of May, 2017, plaintiff was stopped by sheriff's deputies on Ole Miss campus and presented with the order of protection. May 24, 2017, plaintiff spoke to Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman about the latest move from the incoming mayor and her husband, along with the death threat made to him. May 25, 2017, the plaintiff met with the FBI in Oxford at arrangement of Norman. And on May 26, 2017, the plaintiff was arrested by Lafayette County Sheriff's Office for alleged aggravated stalking. Claiming honor before May 8, 2017, plaintiff put Todd and Ashley Lynch in fear of their life with an AR-15. However, plaintiff has the bill of sale proving he purchased the weapon on May 20th. In conversations with authorities and officials who had proved plaintiff purchased the weapon because he himself was under duress from proof of a death threat sent to him via SMS text message. Plaintiff was held for nearly 96 hours before he was brought before a judge in order for bond to be set. This was a blatant ignoring of plaintiff's due process rights guaranteed under the Constitution, and plaintiff states that Justice Court Judge Carolyn Bell was quite likely the largest contributing factor due to her setting plaintiff's bond at $150,000, which is 3 times higher than the maximum guidelines called for under the Mississippi Rules of Criminal Procedure, which was readopted less than a year prior. Judge Bell refused to let the plaintiff address the court to give undeniable proof of his innocence. The plaintiff had never been accused of a felony crime prior, nor any violent crimes. The plaintiff believes political motivation was the driving factor in order to keep plaintiff silenced, restrained, and confined in the Lafayette County Detention Center until after the mayor-elect Robin Tannehill had assumed her office. A habeas corpus petition was filed in the circuit court by the Public Defender's Office on June 8, 2017, and approved to proceed that same day. However, the plaintiff never was told any of this and was never brought before the court. The plaintiff was never allowed a preliminary hearing, which is part of the plaintiff's due process rights and requires that the accused be released on his own recognizance in the absence of one within 14 days. Plaintiff stayed confined until 1 week after Robin Tannehill was sworn into office, when he was pressured into saying he was guilty to avoid being railroaded by other false charges in order for the state to stick a win on something and get rid of the plaintiff. For 6 weeks, a presumably innocent man, veteran, sat confined and treated as a dangerous criminal. Meanwhile, being denied due process rights is guaranteed under state and federal law. All of this following a conspired upon plot to remove the civil rights of another, something most certainly deserving of a fair and honest investigation by the proper authorities. Yet it would seem that nearly everyone is not looking, not listening, or even worse, complicit, making it far worse. The complaint. Plaintiff brought this suit alleging Olive Branch Municipal Court employees baited plaintiff an hour away, allegedly with a predisposed plan to arrest and further financially burden the plaintiff due to his other ongoing battles with the state of Mississippi. In prior matter, in this court, the plaintiff was the victim of a false rape accusation. in which the municipal judge let the accused walk free from her jail sentence if she paid the fine in full. Plaintiff was told he needed to travel to that court to get final court records and that the judge wanted to talk to him. Upon getting there, the judge called plaintiff to the stand in open court, threatened plaintiff with arrest if he called the court or came to the court again, and then asked the plaintiff what he wanted to address, to which the plaintiff responded that it was his ex, and that if she was let off the hook, that he created a monster whom was enabled, at which point plaintiff was cut off and jailed for contempt by the judge simply for doing exactly what the judge asked. Plaintiff alleges this was a false arrest which deprived him of his freedoms and liberties. Plaintiff hereby respectfully prays upon this honorable court to grant this case the special privilege due to its complexity, in which plaintiff is appointed counsel that can further assist this matter. Respectfully submitted this 25th day of February 2021, Matthew Reardon, the Oxford Outlaw.
The whole reason I've been openly documenting my journey and discoveries the way I have is to actually show the world who the true criminals are. Those set on total destruction and devastation to our way of life, to our Constitution, especially the ones in positions of power and authority that rule on their feelings instead of ruling equivocally and by established law. Those susceptible to influence, and of course the immoral and unethical influencers themselves that have used their power, money, and other means to absolutely destroy lives for their own personal gain. The ones who destroyed my life for their own personal gain. To show how low these low-life thugs hit, which is far lower than I even imagined when I tossed care and any inkling of fear to the side and said enough is enough. Hitting low is one thing, but hitting below the belt to a flagrant abuse of an unbelievably tainted legal and judicial system and steadily using that as a weapon of choice is a full-blown declaration of war on American soil. By the very definition of a domestic enemy. This is exactly what our founding fathers warned us about and had the knowledge to foresee in the future. That is why they crafted the Constitution the way they did, and that is why everything is laid out the way it is in the Declaration of Independence that preceded our Constitution. I believe the preamble says it best in saying that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I 100% declare this to be a constitutional crisis and an ethical atrocity. I have demonstrated and produced non-stop evidence supporting just that, the entire time. Beyond all doubt, this area has casted the largest cast net of lies I've ever imagined. It has fallen gullible to extremely corrupt judges, appointed and elected officials, law enforcement agencies, both state, county, and federal, the liberal news media completely ignoring all evidence and proof of wrongdoing, and so have a majority of the citizens in this area. It's like every single attorney has fallen asleep at the wheel, and everybody as a whole turned completely robotic, as if they were brainwashed, as if they were being controlled, manipulated. Meanwhile, I've stayed constant, not breaking any laws, in fact quoting the laws, which have continually been broken and obstructed in order for these people, these animals, to insinuate that somehow I am the crazy one, the wrong one, that I am the criminal. It's been non-stop, constant attacks hurled at me. I've been denied the right to a hearing, a trial. Lies with no proof, no evidence can be made up about me to where I am denied due process under color of law. My life destroyed, my family separated. And when I gather every last drop of evidence, 100% showing my innocence, and show every last piece of evidence that it was a conspired upon, cooked up plot to remove and continue removing my civil rights, I get denied any ability for vindication, denied a hearing, denied prosecution of the true criminals for which solid evidence shows beyond all reasonable doubt. More lies are then conjured up, which is then proven wrong. More obstruction, more attacks on me and my family. My economic opportunities are attacked and destroyed. The media acts like they don't see a thing despite everything even published. It couldn't be any clearer than what I've made it. And God help me if I hadn't have published everything along the way to corroborate every last thing I've said. Because for sure, I would be labeled as crazy by these people, and it might just stick. The problem for these people is them really truly trying to assert that makes them the crazy ones. Because the evidence is here, and it shows every single thing I've claimed from the beginning. I am a patriot, a Marine Corps veteran. I pledge to the defense of our nation, to our Constitution, to protect and defend both from all enemies, foreign and domestic. We are, in fact, in a time of war, a time of uncertainty, a time prophesied about in the Bible. Evil, pure evil, has plagued society and the world we live in. It's beyond me that someone has so much sway, so much influence to control the reporting of every station in the media, to influence and control the judges, attorneys, committees that hold attorneys and judges accountable. Law enforcement agencies, both state and federal, with so many in every echelon of our government, you would think that I am indeed the crazy one, and that's what they want you to believe. That's what Ray and Robin Tannehill want you to believe. And they do a phenomenal job of it, let me tell you. Impressive, mind-blowing, bravo. Controlling every facet of an already corrupt government teeter-tottling on the edge of complete chaos that in no way can and will sustain with how far off track everything has gone in society. The complete disrespect and disregard for our Constitution, our veterans, and the rights afforded to us, our unalienable rights bestowed upon us by God. A time when Democrat leaders pushed a mask-wearing mandate while allowing and supporting abortions, even late-term abortions, leading to an exponentially higher amount of deaths than what some introduced China virus could ever have done. See, it's all about control at any cost, and it couldn't be any more evident than the proof that has already been generated up to this point with my journey to vindicate myself and hit back hard in the producing of Riding with the Outlaw. This type of disgusting fraud and corruption, the stacking of the deck, the further politicization of the courts, and the further manipulation of the media will never be condoned by a free society still composed of patriots, militia, and all who pledged a lifelong oath to America to protect and defend against this very thing. Tyrants will never be allowed to stand on American soil. It's crystal clear that at the hands of a socialist mayor and her puppeteer husband, that the city of Oxford and its surrounding areas have become Constitution-disregarded zones that are not ruled upon by law, but rather ruled upon by mob and influence. It has forever destroyed the integrity of the state that I held in high regard at one time, when its citizens actually had a backbone, understood right from wrong, had a strong knowledge and showing of ethics, rejected socialism and its ways brought about through the tyrannic ones at the top of the pyramid, throwing their influence to bring about whatever change they desire without regard or care for our established laws, our supreme laws, and human decency. As I've said, animals, disgusting animals that have taken society to a point of being at war with itself. The people that will be responsible for the largest bloodshed in the history of the world when the Second Civil War breaks out within the boundaries of this once great nation, and it's lingering on the horizon.
Our country has lost all sight of its values on which it was established. A lawless nation of laws. I've never in my life witnessed such an atrocity, and yet it serves as a daily reminder that our freedom never truly comes free. It comes at a price. We never plan to fail. Rather, we fail to plan. And that's what truly holds each and every one of us back from our true potential. Be thankful for each and every opportunity you have, and make the most of it. Be unwavering in your commitment, even if others don't agree with you. Be certain and dedicate fully, refusing to give up and back down, and most certainly in your convictions when it comes to your perceived values of right and wrong in the face of true evil. The times truly testing of your faith are here. How will your legacy reflect on you and future generations hinge on the decisions you make right now? Now is the time to take a stand for the freedoms of tomorrow. is a decision that you are going to have to make. This whole ordeal has been the biggest nightmare I can't wake up from. I knew it would be the biggest challenge of my life, but this is absolute hell. Nobody seems to take a damn thing seriously. The government agencies who know they are in the wrong continuously make a mockery of everything because nobody seems to hold them accountable, which in turn makes the issue at heart grow larger than life. The influence of the media seems to be a make or break on everything in today's society. I've been every bit the opposite of silent on everything. I've resonated to a point of losing my voice, and it's like the mute button has been hit the entire time. It's like a story building within a story, which undoubtedly will lead to complete devastation, not just for me, but for everybody. I've documented, journalized, reported relentlessly. I've thrown myself into the middle of a viper pit because that is the only avenue I saw that could possibly produce a positive outcome and remedy the horrible things and horrible people that have destroyed my life and caused society to drift so far off track as it has been headed over the past decade. I made the conscious decision that I'd rather fall as a martyr on my feet to a worthy and noble cause.
So, to fill you in, Friday I hand-delivered my inked letter to Blowhard Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman, and I didn't have that nickname for him before until I figured out that his corrupt ass was part of the problem. So, what happened? I said, "Do you remember me?" He said, "I do." And he looked at me when he first saw me like he already knew exactly who I was. I knew he knew who I was. I just couldn't remember what his name was. I put my trust in this assistant U.S. attorney to guide me in the right direction, or to take the evidence I already had and do something about it. The problem is, because I'm not a disgusting liberal, because I'm not a socialist, because I'm not a Democrat, because I don't fit the agenda of this city that they're aggressively trying to shove down the throats of the citizens in this area, because I take a stand for what's right, for the Constitution, for Southern heritage. I had information that would have had ramifications on the incoming mayor and her husband back in May of 2017. I told Bob I was trying to find out why the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District, which has a fiduciary responsibility, a moral responsibility to investigate crimes of corruption, and certainly to prosecute them if they exist, why over about 2 months' time I got the runaround, I got kicked to the back. They refused to give me a call and look at all the evidence that I had gathered in regards to this being 100% framed, my civil rights being conspired upon to be removed. He wouldn't give me an answer. I had requested, and I have been long now in wait of, the 302 investigative report generated by the FBI from a sit-down meeting that I had with him May 25th, 2017, where I discussed the death threat that was on me, where I discussed how my rights, my civil rights, my First Amendment right to speak, as well as petition the government for a redress of grievances, how that was thrown away due to a cheap shot injunction. And anytime the FBI meets with a citizen, anytime that there's any kind of interview, especially at a field office like it was done, it's supposed to be done in the presence of a second agent. And that was the case. There were 2 agents that sat down with me in the conference room of the local field branch office in Oxford, Mississippi, and a FOIA request, a public records request, I have requested the 302 from that sit-down meeting to corroborate everything that I've said. I also know that the FBI is a politicized weapon. They've been a politicized weapon. They especially were activated as a political weapon when the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was elected to office. You see the proof with General Flynn, how the crooked FBI illegally wiretapped him in order to purposefully frame him to try to get inside of the Trump organization. And so I know not to trust the FBI to do the right thing. So in addition to this 302, which is missing according to the FBI, they will not respond to it. I also requested the video evidence of this sit-down meeting to corroborate the accuracy of the 302. And what do you know? The video is deleted after a certain amount of time that they could not specify the amount of time. They simply said that it's up to their technicians to determine. So when I pressed Bob Norman for this, for why they sat by with a moral and fiduciary obligation to answer the call for help, to prevent public corruption, he wouldn't give me an answer. I asked him about why his office would not even so much as return a phone call to examine the evidence. He would not give me an answer. I said, Bob, your office, and this is why I put together the open letter that I did, because whether or not the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Mississippi wants to provide answer or not, that letter needs to go on file at the Department of Justice in Washington, addressed to Attorney General William Barr. This corrupt bullshit has gone on long enough. It's affected enough lives, it's destroyed enough lives, and God knows it's destroyed mine. Marine Corps veteran, patriotic citizen. My rights are brutally trampled on, and nobody seems to give a shit. And what is apparently a dumbed down society from people drinking the Kool-Aid that's been given by our government pushing some kind of alternate plan here. And I have full faith and confidence in our Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump. There are enemies of our country embedded in the alphabet agencies, such as this right here. The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, that are directly causing significant harm to our society. They're not going to stop. They're not going to back down until they completely destroy it. And it's on the citizens themselves to step up and grab the reins and either do something about it or allow it to happen. And if you allow it to happen, you're not going to have your opportunity to save it later. And that's why I'm taking the aggressive approach that I'm taking and trying to vindicate myself through riding with the outlaw, to trying to get to answers. Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman, when I told him that his office, that he and his office had a moral and fiduciary obligation to protect American citizens, to go after, to prosecute the real criminals. His answer to me, which was absolutely gawking, was our office is protecting is protecting the public from criminals such as yourself, knowing that everything, the letter, the DVD that I just gave you, everything that I've uncovered and I've published, there's absolutely no way I could have possibly committed the crime that they accused me of. The FBI knew it. That's why the 302 is missing. That's why they will not respond to the FOIA request. That's also why the Sheriff's Department in Lafayette County, as well as Lafayette County's attorney, when pressed for details about that May 24th, 2017 phone call, which through the Sheriff's Office, through their own admission, was what sparked the warrant, what generated the warrant for them to come after me, for them to ambush me on the square in Oxford when I was going to a bar to sit down with a friend to have a beer on May 26th. That was what that came from. And this blowhard U.S. attorney wants to call me a criminal. He's the criminal. He's the problem. He is directly the problem. I wonder how many of these vehicles with dark tint driving by are FBI, the investigative arm of the U.S. Attorney's Office. These people picked a fight with the wrong one. Because honestly, like I said at the beginning, they can try what they want to try. This time around, I don't care. I'm not selling my soul to the devil a second time and pleading out to some bullshit that I didn't do. I'll sit it out like a patriot would, proving my innocence. I'm not allowing this to happen. Because see, here's the thing. I got 4 kids. I got 3 that are biologically mine. All of them are girls. And if I sit back and allow this to happen, if society as a whole has been trained to turn a blind eye to something such as this, if agencies are allowed to conjure up anything that they want to conjure up in order to politically motivate another, in order to remove the liability off of an agency that made a false arrest at the beginning of that month, well then, my daughters, unfortunately, don't have a future or a shot in America anyways. Because America will have long consumed itself before then. So I owe it to them, and I also am doing this to help prevent something like this from happening again. The true criminals need to be held responsible. I couldn't remember if it was May 24th or May 25th that I met with Bob Norman, the assistant U.S. attorney, who then directed me to go and speak with the FBI about the issue. But my wife actually told me that she remembers fairly well that it was May 24th, 2017, that I spoke with Bob Norman. And May 24th, 2017 was coincidentally the day that the mystery phone call came into the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department, investigator Jared Bundard. And after the response that Bob Norman gave me on Friday for simply trying to hold his office accountable, for simply asking why they would not return a single phone call in regards to what was alleged as a horrible public corruption nightmare. A quid pro quo deal that benefited 4 separate parties, including the incoming mayor of Oxford, 2 bar owners, who they themselves were the one that started the little back and forth on Facebook, on social media. It benefited the Sheriff's Department in Lafayette County through the sham arrest of Timmy Pruitt made May 1st, arresting me standing in front of the Confederate statue in Oxford on the square, holding the state flag of Mississippi, because I didn't have a permit, and I asked him what his badge number was because he lazily forgot to put it on his uniform. That enraged him, and he made a wrongful arrest. And it also benefited the mother of my now 6-year-old child, who's been used as a chess piece against me in a staged war of the courts, which, by the way, her attorney in the original child custody, the husband of the Oxford mayor. Ray Tannehill, by the way, 3 days ago was appointed by the Mississippi Supreme Court, was appointed to the Mississippi Bar Tribunal. You know, the people that ultimately decide if there was wrongful conduct committed by an attorney. He himself is part of this, he played a huge part. In fact, I don't think that any of this would have gone on if it weren't for Ray Tannehill's involvement. I don't. And how someone like himself gets appointed by the Mississippi Supreme Court to a position that he had absolutely no reason being in light of the serious allegations made, is beyond me. And it just shows how much tougher of an uphill battle this is going to be. That they are, one by one, maneuvering pegs in place to try to once again obtain a favorable outcome at the expense of another. And I myself am one by one putting pegs in place to be victorious and vindicating myself, doing it in the name of justice and patriotism, and to bring the truly responsible parties to justice. In that open letter, go read it if you haven't read it yet. There's a landmark U.S. Supreme Court ruling by the late and great Judge Antonin Scalia. It was United States versus Williams, in which he ruled that the grand jury does not belong to any 3 branches of government. Rather, the grand jury belongs 100% in its entirety to we the people. And that by that, the citizenry are empowered to impanel a citizen's grand jury to present evidence, to obtain indictments, to try and to mete out punishment to those convicted. And I want this office right here behind me to do their job, to quit kicking the can down the road, to quit passing the buck, to do the job that they're tasked with doing, to produce the evidence requested, to give answer to the question stated in the letter, although I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be sending it to DC without any answers from the U.S. Attorney, and that's just fine. But I think it's very ironic, I find it actually quite humorous, that 30 minutes until 5 o'clock, there isn't a soul at the U.S. Attorney's office in the parking lot. Not only did they not fulfill their duties that they're tasked with, but not a soul up here working at 4:30. And these people are paid for by, guess who? You. Hold your people accountable. You only have one chance to do this. It's nearing bad times in America. Soros is trying to usher this in. Gates is trying to usher this in. Socialists are trying to usher this in. Take a stand for America before it's too late, folks. Matt Reardon, the Oxford Outlaw. Thanks for tuning in. Share this live stream. I needed to get a little Q&A with you. You don't do Q&As? Oh, can you answer a few questions for me?
No, I can't.
Why is the county not wanting to comply on the public records request? You told me
I have to ask the county.
You told me that if I submitted it, y'all would comply. That was the last time that we spoke.
I told you we'd look at it.
You said no. You said that we'll comply. You said submit it and we'll comply. Why haven't I gotten the really, Sheriff? Is this really the position you're going to take? Why won't you even answer that? Look, hey, y'all will not respond to anything, any email, any public records request, anything. I want to know why. I am holding our county officials accountable for this. You know I was framed. We've already had that discussion, Joey. You know I was framed. Huh? That was one of your ringleaders right there. That was one of your ringleaders right there. You know that y'all coerced me. Y'all coerced me under stress and used my daughter.
I did?
Yeah, y'all twist. No, the Tannehills did. Is who really did it.
Did you plead guilty?
I followed
That's
the
a fair
sham
question, right
advice.
with the outlaw.
Okay, well,
Did
hey,
you plead guilty?
why are y'all trying to protect? Who are you trying to protect? Is it that there's no call that came in, or is it that there's somebody like Robin Tannehill or Ray Tannehill that's on that call? I want to know. Who's on the call? Who's on the call? Was there a call or was there not a call? It was on the police report that I got from May 30th.
Whatever medicine you're on, take
Really? Really?
I don't understand what you're talking about.
The response of the sheriff. The response of the sheriff. Oh, really? Hey, get away from me. Get any closer. Get any closer. Okay. Really? Really? Dude, get away from me with that cupcake. That bullshit.
Come on, man.
Hey, just so y'all know, I just want to remind you, Trump will be your president for the next 4 years. I know it doesn't sit very well with you, but that's exactly why Trump just got elected to another term. Y'all are corrupt as you can be. Corrupt as you can be.
So angry. What you angry about,
I'm
man?
pissed off y'all violated my fucking rights.
Come on. Ain't you up
And if that's been you that's been driving by Weiss family's house, you better fucking stop it, Scott.
Really? I've been driving my way.
It's been a black truck that's been driving by and stopping outside of the house.
Be careful. Get back in the house here.
You're the one stalking me if that's you. I said, if that's you.
You ain't
I said, if that's you.
Alex Bird saved with me coming by your house. Be careful.
No, I said, if that was you. I got it on live stream.
I'm
Threaten me again. Y'all are corrupt as a son of a bitch. Hey, I got what I needed. I got what I needed. The sheriff, okay, I needed a Q&A. I needed answers as to why y'all are obstructing justice. Y'all are refusing to comply with a FOIA request as you've got to. Y'all are just, y'all are, look at this. Look at this.
Why you ambushing?
What? Okay, why did you threaten my wife with arrest for obstruction of justice if she changed the password on my Facebook or email? You calling her a liar?
You should come.
You calling her a liar?
You should come to the front door.
Are you
and talk
calling
to
her a
the sheriff
liar?
Like a man.
Look,
You should
a
come
lot
to the front door and talk to
a lot of the
sheriff like a
officers
man.
out here are great, I'm sure. But you know what? Their corrupt leadership is going to be the downfall of them. Their corrupt leadership is going to be the downfall of all the good officers.
Come to the front door and make a woman and talk to the sheriff instead of ambushing.
See you, Sleepy. Yeah. What a better time to pass some time. Man, I got so much work to do. Seems like everywhere I go, I see Fed cars now. Man, they won't leave me alone. They're leaving me alone, but they won't leave me alone. So I'll play right back. Yeah, you know who it is. Mike been cold for a little while. From Keystone Kid to Kilo Jones, that's Scott Mills, why they call me the outlaw. All the time reminding rhymes, low blow, racketeer and pay for play, you filthy Democrat. Another one just for fun, I think it's him, he's back again. Oh shit, it's Matt, you played my fam against me, thought you had the win. I guess it's easy to think, now when you looking back, a grandstanding room of criminals with a gun and a badge. I forgot about Timmy, does he have his back?